14 minutes to 9. We're going to talk now to Gemma Lawler, who is the mother of 2-year-old Joy, who has a heart condition and needs open heart surgery as soon as possible. Gemma Lawler, you're very welcome into studio.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Joy.
Joy is a delightful 2-year-old. She was adopted from Vietnam 18 months ago, and she has heart defect of two types. She has ASD, which is commonly known as hole in the heart, and pulmonary stenosis, which is the narrowing of the aortic valve. And her condition is deteriorating on a daily basis. At the moment she's on the waiting list for open heart surgery in Our Lady's Hospital in Crumlim, and we know that that waiting list is expanding daily and weekly. And we're campaigning for all the children on that list so that they may have their surgery as soon as possible.
And how is she now at the moment? What's her quality of life like?
It's deteriorating, to be honest. The poor child has been sick over the last 2 or 3 days. She's very tired. Very often she's turning blue, and her hands and her feet go extremely cold. And it's very upsetting for us as parents to watch it. She doesn't really know any different, but she does. You can see the life going out of her eyes in a way. And all we can do is wait until her heart can recover and the life comes back into her. And
it's a straightforward thing. If she gets this surgery, presumably it'll transform her life and her quality of life.
Absolutely. And we've been told that the surgery is 99% successful, and this is probably the only surgery that she will need and will do her whole life. So it'll be life transforming, actually life-giving surgery to her.
Okay, so ideally you would want this surgery to take place as quickly as possible at the Crumlim Children's Hospital.
Absolutely.
What has the hospital been saying to you as you make the point you're about 100 on the waiting list?
Well, her team, her consultancy team, the cardiac team there, have told us that obviously it's better to have the surgery done when she's in optimum health rather than when she's deteriorating. But they cannot plan for this surgery, they cannot schedule it, because there are so many other children ahead of her in more dire need. And one of the reasons we are told for this expanding waitlist is the lack of ICU beds. Once a child has open heart surgery or any other really major surgery, they need an ICU bed after surgery for approximately 24 hours. So if you look at the big picture, 24 hours in ICU is very small in comparison to a surgical team willing and waiting to do the surgery, life-saving operations that's going to transform her life. And one of the major reasons that this waiting list is expanding is the lack of the ICU bed or the staffing for ICU. What seems to be happening is that ICU staff who are on leave for whatever reason are not being temporarily substituted for, and we are campaigning for those who have the power to substitute those people who would be staffing ICU beds, so at least the beds that are there can be used to 100% capacity. But the other thing, the DNV report from 2008 stated that there's
What's that report?
It was an external audited report on Crumlim and other hospitals, highlighting what is actually needed and what the requirements are of the children. And it said that it needed at least 9 extra beds to even function as a proper unit. The hospital itself are doing over 500 cardiac cases per year, and it's only built to deal with 370. So the DNV reports stated 9 extra beds were needed now, which was 2008. We were told last week by the government that the government is willing to supply 4 ICU beds in 18 months' time. And that's just a cruel taunt. It's just not good enough.
Now, can I read for you the statement? I'm sure you're familiar with the details. You've touched on some of them from the HSE. It says about its commitment to replacing 13 of the hospital's existing ICU beds and introducing 4 new ones. It'll bring these, they'll be completed within 18 months, and it'll bring the total number of intensive care unit beds at Crumlim to 25. And it says that, I think this is a statement from the hospital, that the hospital prioritises cardiac patients on the basis of clinical need. Then a spokesman for the HSE itself says that it cannot comment on how or why Crumlim Hospital makes its decisions on prioritising children on the waiting list for cardiac surgery, but it says the hospital has told it that all urgent cases are operated on and then they prioritise based on clinical need. They seem to be saying that Joy and the picture you paint of is of a little girl who doesn't have a great quality of life, but if it was really urgent and life-threatening, she would be operated on now.
I don't think that's good enough. And I don't think that's good enough for all the other parents on that wait list. If the surgical teams, if the highly trained medical staff are there, able to do their jobs, but they can't do their jobs because there is a blockage further on in the system, then there's something wrong. It's not good enough that a child can't have life-saving operations when they need them at optimum health. How long do we wait? How long do we wait? Do we wait until she's in total heart failure? What sort of health will she be in then to undergo open heart surgery? And this is happening for all those parents. We are not looking for Joy to skip any lists. We are asking people to talk about this, to highlight that there is a problem with prioritisation. Why will they not prioritise these ICU beds so that waiting list is not expanding?
Incidentally, are there any alternatives for Joy, for you? Is there somewhere else she can go to get this treatment?
Well, somebody was saying to us last night we were kind of in a stalemate situation because apparently we can't bring her to any of the private hospitals in Ireland because they need paediatric nursing and medical staff to facilitate that. And the private hospitals in Ireland do not have paediatric nurses. So it would require a facilitation by those who have the power to allow a temporary release of those medical staff to allow that to happen. The facilities are there. Is the willpower?
Mm-hmm. So at this stage, you've started this campaign to get the open heart surgery for Joy and others on the list. Mm-hmm. How hopeful are you that it will actually work?
Well, this campaign came about by default, really, and I have been shocked and amazed and absolutely so delighted, in a way, that parents are so supportive of this. This has taken off of its own accord because it has a resonance with families, with people who have children. It's not, people recognise that this is a solvable situation. I would not be sitting here this morning. I would be at home with my Joy if I did not feel that this problem could be fixed. And it can be fixed. It only requires prioritisation. It only requires a willingness of the government to fix this problem. It's not going to cost a lot. It's actually going to save money.
And as far as you're concerned, Joy should be entitled to the treatment, the open heart surgery now.
Every child should be. Mm-hmm. Every child who needs it should be there at optimum health.
Okay, Gemma Lawler, thank you for coming in to us this morning. It's 7 minutes to 9.